know I'm not very scripted. I don't plan these things ahead. So we're doing Pilgrim's Progress twice in a row for a read aloud because I am behind. I'm in the middle of like a book study, like a Bible study. I call it a Bible study because they incorporate scripture in this every week in the study of the book. So, but and obviously it's very revolved around God and everything. So, um, but yeah, I didn't go last week, and it's tomorrow, and I haven't caught up on my 2 chapters. So that's why we're doing it again, like twice in a row. Hopefully we'll be able to do. Hi, how are you? Hopefully we'll be able to do Winnie the Pooh or House at Pooh Corner for our next read aloud, but I had to do Pilgrim's Progress this time. So anyway, we're on chapter 4, and I really need to read 2 chapters. So I'm super hoping. I haven't even looked. I'm really hoping they're not super long, so we can do 2. Oh hi! How the heck are ya? Did you get a new username? Or I mean, change yours or whatever. Or like new account. Sorry, I'm not even gonna lie. I just woke up from a nap. A really solid, groggy nap. So I really thought I was prepared to give like an intro, and then my mind just went like blank when I clicked go live. So sorry in advance. At least we're just reading. I don't have to be interesting for this stream. But okay, cool. That's nice. Yeah, it's been a minute. Sorry. Also, soon I'm gonna have to start a new project, so we'll have more crafting streams soon. Right now it's just read alouds, but I have a lot of siblings, and I want to make every one of them a birthday card this year. So pretty soon I'm gonna have a new project to start. So, but yeah. Also, I haven't washed my hair. This is totally like unrelated, but my hair's been in a braid for like 2 days. Tomorrow's hair washing day, and I'm so excited because I hate not washing my hair, but I do try to take care of it, so it feels so gross. But anyway, okay, so let me just go ahead and get started. I don't know, zombie, or I don't know what to call you. Zombie, I guess. Because that's what I'm used to. Or maybe I should just... Is that from Lord of the Rings, your username on here? Like the ring rates? Or is it just... Or is that like the only thing that I know that word from? That's probably what it is. Anyway, I'll probably just call you Wraith, if that's okay. Because I'm gonna forget that you're zombie. I'm so sorry. Have you ever watched any of my read aloud streams? Oh, cool. Nice. I love Lord of the Rings. It's like my favorite thing. Okay, cool. But yeah, cool. Well, this book is really interesting. I don't know if you've like gone back and watched when I read chapter 3 of this book. It's really interesting. I'm not really gonna give another summary on what we've read so far. It'll take it'll take a while, but you have? Oh, that's so cool. Do you like it? That's amazing. I've like listened to it, like read alouds of it, and I really liked it. So my friend asked me if I was interested in doing this book study on it, and I've always wanted to read it myself because I don't know, there's something different about listening to books. It doesn't sink in for me as well, or like I don't what's the word? I don't retain it as well, so I don't remember a lot that happened when I was listening to it. So I was like, yes, I'm down because I do want to read it. All right, cool. Well, I'm on chapter 4. Let me just see how long these chapters are because I have to read chapter 5 too. Oh, this is going to take a minute. We might be reading for a second. I'm so sorry, but tomorrow is my study and I want to be caught up. So, anyway. Alright, let me just get started here. This one is called. Oh, and I'm so glad you're here, by the way. Seriously. Okay, so we're in chapter 4. It's called Arrival at the Palace Beautiful. In my dream, I saw Christian hurry along the path toward the palace, hoping that he might find lodging there for a while. Before he had gone far, he entered onto a very narrow path, about 220 yards from the palace lodge. Also, I don't think this is the original writing of the book. This is the version that, oh yeah, it says revision by Alan Vermeil? Something? Which I don't love. I do wish we were reading the original because it's so much more beautifully written, I think. But this makes it like simpler, which I don't love. But they did, just so I can follow along with the study guide, they encouraged us to get this version, so I did. Yeah, I like the original better, but I actually own the original, and I started reading it, and I was like, okay, this is going to be really hard because it doesn't match the study guide. Like, different stuff happens in different chapters, so it was kind of hard to keep up with the study of it, but whatever. This way I'm on the same page with the rest of the people doing the book study with me, so, okay. As the path continued to narrow, he spotted the same 2 lions that had frightened mistrust and nervousness, and sent them running back home. The lions were ferocious and seemed as though they might maul him to death if he got too close. Christian was terrified and began to think of turning around and going home too. What Christian could not see was the chain that was restraining the wild beasts. The porter at the palace lodge, whose name was Watchman, noticed Christian was thinking of retreating, so he cried out to him, "Is your strength and courage so small? Don't be afraid of the lions because they are chained. They are placed there on your journey as a trial of faith and to reveal those that have no faith. Just stay in the middle of the way and you will not be harmed." Christian was quite scared, but went forward anyway, being careful to follow the watchman's instructions. The lions roared and snarled, but they did not hurt him as he stayed in the middle of the way. Finally, he made it to the gate where the watchman was waiting for him, and he clapped his hands with joy. Feeling both confident and relieved, Christian turned to Watchman and asked, "Sir, whose residence is this, and may I stay here tonight?" "This palace was built by the Lord of the Hill for those that are traveling to find safety and rest," said Watchman, eyeing Christian closely. "Tell me, where did you come from and where are you going?" "I'm from the city of destruction and heading to Mount Zion," Christian said, "but now the sun has gone down, and if you would allow me, I would like to stay here tonight." "What's your name?" "My name is Christian, but it used to be Graceless. I come from the family of Japheth, whom God will persuade to dwell in the tents of Shem." With a concerned look, Watchman asked, "But why are you coming here so late after the sun has set?" Christian, looking down in shame, said, "I would have been here much sooner, but because of the wretched man that I am, I fell asleep in the shady arbor located on the side of the hill of difficulty. If it were not for that, and then losing my certificate while I slept there, I would have not been late. Unfortunately, I realized that it was lost once I arrived at the top of the hill. Without hesitation, I ran back and found it, then pressed forward on my journey, arriving here late. Well, I will take to one of the maidens of this place," said Watchman. "If she likes what you have to say, she will invite you to join the rest of the family, according to the rules of the house." Then Watchman rang a bell. A beautiful and dignified maiden named Discretion came to the door of the house and asked, "Why did you call me?" Watchman responded, "This man is on a journey from the city of destruction to Mount Zion. Now the sun has set, and he is weary and tired, and has asked if he might stay here tonight. I told him I would call for you, and you would. After some discussion with him, decide what seemed best according to the rules of the house." Discretion asked Christian where he came from and where he was going, and he told her. She asked him how he got on the path, so he told her. Then she asked him what he had seen and met. I'm sorry. Yeah, what he had seen and met with on the path, and he told her that too. Finally, she asked him his name. My name is Christian, he said. I really would like to stay here tonight because I understand that this place was built by the Lord of the Hill for the safety and rest of pilgrims. As she smiled, tears came to her eyes. After a slight pause, she said, I will call for 2 or 3 more of the family to come here. She ran to the door and called to Prudence, Piety, and Charity, who came out to meet him. After talking with him a little more, they brought him inside to meet the rest of the family. Many of them came and warmly welcomed Christian as he entered the house, saying, Come in. You are blessed. Oh, you are blessed of the Lord. This house was built by the Lord of the Hill for the express purpose of entertaining pilgrims like you. Christian bowed his head and followed them into the palace. Once inside, he sat down and was given something to drink. To make the best use of time, they all agreed that until supper was ready, a few of them would continue talking with Christian, namely Piety, Prudence, and Charity. An interview with Piety, Prudence, and Charity. Come with us, Christian, Piety said, leading the way into another room, where they all sat down. Since we have shown you love and hospitality by inviting you into our house tonight, we think it would be good for you to share your story with us about all the things that have happened on your journey. I would be happy to, Christian said, excited about the opportunity to share his experience. Thank you for allowing me to stay here. Piety smiled and began with her first question. What first made you decide to follow this way of life? Christian leaned back in his chair and thought for a moment. I was driven out of my own country by a terrible message that... I'm sorry, I keep getting notifications. Okay, these are like, I don't need these on. Okay. Blah. I was driven out of my own country by a terrible message that I kept hearing, telling me that I would die if I stayed in the city of destruction. Well, what finally happened to make you leave your country and head this way, she asked. God had a plan, he said. You see, I was overwhelmed with the fear of death and didn't know which way to go. But by chance, a man named Evangelist found me while I was shaking and crying and directed me to the wicket gate. Otherwise, I would have never found it. He also set me on the way that led directly to this house. Piety's brow furrowed as she seemed confused by the answer. But didn't you also pass the house of the interpreter? Oh, yes, Christian said with a big smile stretching across his face. That's an experience I will remember for as long as I live. I saw many incredible things there, but there were 3 things that impacted me the most. The first was to understand how Christ, in opposition to Satan, maintains his work of grace in the heart. The second was how the man in the iron cage had sinned himself into such despair that he had no hope of God's mercy. The third was the dream of the man who had imagined that the day of judgment had come and he was not prepared. Did you hear him tell his dream? Yes, Christian said with a serious look. It was a terrible discovery. My heart just to... I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I was totally missing a word. My heart hurt just to hear him tell it, but I'm glad I did. Was this all you saw at the house of the interpreter? No, Christian said, shaking his head. He showed me a stately palace filled with people dressed in gold. Then a courageous man came forward and cut his way through the armed men who stood in the door of the palace to keep him out. Once the man got through, he was invited to come into the palace and receive eternal glory. My heart and mind were completely overwhelmed by what I saw. In fact, I would have stayed at the interpreter's house for a year, but I knew that I had some distance to go. Piety paused for a moment and then leaned in closer to Christian and asked, What else did you see on the way? What else did I see? Christian said, obviously more excited as he moved to the edge of the seat. Well, I had no more traveled a little farther down the path when I saw, as if it were in my mind, a man hanging on a tree bleeding. Just the very sight of him made the burden fall off my back, and this was a great burden that I had been suffering with for some time. It was unbelievable. It just fell off my back. It surprised me because I'd never seen such a thing before. While I stood staring at the cross, almost in a daze, 3 shining angels appeared before me. One declared my sins forgiven, another stripped me of my rags and gave me the new embroidered coat that I'm wearing. The third angel placed the mark that you see on my forehead and gave me this sealed certificate. He pulled the certificate from his chest pocket and showed it to her. Piety leaned back in her chair. I'm guessing you saw even more than this on the way, didn't you? Nodding his head, Christian said, Christian said, "What I've told you is the very best, but yes, I did see many interesting things. For instance, I saw three men, simple, lazy, and arrogant, lying asleep a little off the way with chains on their ankles. It was nearly impossible to wake them. I saw also formality and hypocrisy come tumbling over the wall and pretending to go to Mount Zion, but they were quickly lost. Even though I had warned them, they simply would not believe. I did, however, work very hard to get up this hill and became quite stressed about the thought of lions devouring me. I'll tell you the truth. Had it not been for the good porter standing at the gate, I might have gone back home again. Praise God I'm here, and thank you for welcoming me." Then Prudence, quite eager to join the conversation, said, "Do you sometimes think about the city of destruction?" "Yes," he said, slowly leaning back to his chair again, "but only with shame and disgust. Truth be told, if I had a deep longing to return to that country, I probably would have done so by now. But my heart desires a better country, that is, a heavenly one, so I will press on." "Even now, do you still think about your old life and the people you were involved with?" Christian knew that he did and was ashamed to say it. "Yes, those thoughts do enter my mind, but greatly against my will, especially regarding my physical thoughts and desires. You see, where I come from, physical desires consume our minds, and we love to think about them. But now all those thoughts and memories bring nothing but grief. If I could choose what entered my mind, I would never choose to think of those things again. But even on my best days, the worst of those thoughts still remain in me." "Do you find yourself sometimes able to overcome certain thoughts, while at other times find it much more difficult?" asked Prudence. "Yes, but not that often, although when they do occur, those times are truly golden." Not completely satisfied with the answer, Prudence kept digging. "When you experience those times of overcoming your physical desires, are you aware how you defeated them?" "Oh, absolutely," Christian said, nodding. "When I think about what I saw at the cross, that will do it. When I look upon my embroidered coat, that will do it. When I look at the certificate that I carry in my chest pocket, that will do it. And when I think about going to the celestial city, that will do it." Prudence pressed further. "And why do you so desire to go to the celestial city?" Blah. Okay. Without hesitation and with a gleam in his eye, Christian shouted and almost jumped out of his seat. "Why, it's there that I hope to see him alive who is hanging dead on the cross. It's there that I hope to get rid of all those things that to this day remain a constant annoyance. For in the celestial city they say there is no death, and that I will be living with the best of heavenly companions. But most of all, I love him because he released me from my burden, and I'm so tired of being sick inside. I would prefer to be where I will die no more, and with my companions who will continually cry, 'Holy, holy, holy.'" Charity jumped into the conversation. "Do you have a family, Christian? Are you married?" The excitement that was on Christian's face suddenly started to fade as he fell back into his chair. "I have a wife and 4 small children." Looking around, she asked, "And why did you not bring them along with you?" The thought of his family made him break down and weep. "Oh, how I wanted to, but they were adamantly opposed to going on this journey with me." "You should have talked to them and tried to show them the danger of staying behind," Charity said. "I did," he cried. "I showed them exactly what God had revealed to me about the coming destruction of our city, but they just laughed and did not believe me." "Did you also pray that God would help them understand your warning?" She asked. "Yes, I prayed so passionately for them. You must understand," Christian said, thinking only of his wife and children. "I love my family very much." "Did you also share with them your feelings of stress and fear of the coming destruction? I'm sure the prospect of destruction was clear enough to you." Christian placed his head in his hands and leaned forward on his knees. "Oh yes, again, and again. I was unable to hide the fear on my face or the tears in my eyes when I thought about the judgment coming for all of us. But none of it was sufficient to convince them to come with me." "But what reason did they give for not coming along?" she asked. Christian slowly lifted his head and wiped away some tears. "Well, for one, my wife was afraid of losing all the comforts and attractions of this world. And as for my children, they are completely absorbed with the foolish pleasures of youth. For one reason or another, they left me to wander, anxiously thinking about our fate." Charity paused to allow Christian to compose himself. "So with all your effort to persuade your family to come with you and leave the city of destruction, do you think it was your new way of life that discouraged them from following you?" Christian held up his hand and shook his head. "No, I cannot and will not command my own life. I'm well aware of my many personal failings. I also know that by living a hypocritical life, a man can quickly undo whatever argument or persuasion he has used to present the good news. But I can say that I was very careful to avoid any disgraceful behavior that would give them reason to avoid going on this journey with me. In fact, if anything, I was too strict and denied myself things for their sake in which they saw nothing wrong. I can honestly say that if what they saw in me hindered them, it was my great caution in not wanting to sin against God or others. Undoubtedly so, Charity said, nodding as if understanding Christian's plight. Whoop. Cain hated his brother because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. If your wife and children have been offended by this, then they show themselves unyielding toward that which is good. You have delivered your soul from accountability for their blood. Suiting up for battle. They continued talking until supper was ready, then all sat down to eat around a table furnished with the most delicious and rich foods and the best wine. All the talk at the table was on the Lord of the Hill, specifically what he had done, why he did it, and why he built the palace. From what they said, Christian understood that he had been a great warrior and fought with and slain the one who had the power over death, but not without great danger to himself, which made Christian love him even more. For as I understand and believe, said Christian, referring to the great warrior, he was victorious, but not without losing a lot of blood. But he did it for all the glory of grace and with a motive of pure love for his people. At the table, there were other residents of the house who claimed to have seen and talked with him since his death on the cross. They testified to having heard from his own lips that he loves poor pilgrims more than the East is from the West. They said that at another time he stripped himself of his glory for the poor, and they also heard him say that he would not live in Mount Zion alone. Excuse me. Furthermore, he had made many pilgrims into princes, who by their own very nature were born repulsive beggars. They continued talking until late in the evening, at which time they committed themselves to the Lord for protection, and each went to their own bed. Christian was provided a large upstairs bedroom with a window that opened toward the east to catch the sunrise. The bedroom was named Peace. On waking the next morning, he joyfully sang, "Where am I now? Is this the love and care of Jesus? For the men that pilgrims are, to provide that I should be forgiven and live already the next door to heaven." That morning they all got up and continued talking, but as Christian was preparing to leave, they asked him to stay and see the variety of rare treasures and relics in the house. First they took him into the study, where they showed him records of the greatest age, which included the recorded ancestry of the Lord of the Hill. It proved that he was the son of the Ancient of Days and came from an eternal generation. These records also revealed the acts that he had accomplished and the names of hundreds of people that he had recruited into his service. They also showed how he had placed them in such living conditions that would never decay or dissolve with the passing of time. Then they read to him some of the notable acts that some of his servants had done, including how they had subdued kingdoms, brought about righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, and escaped the edge of the sword. Out of their weakness they were made strong and became courageous in battle, which made foreign enemies flee. They read another part of the house record that revealed how willing their Lord was to receive any person into his good graces. This included those that had previously insulted his character and accomplishments. Here, Christian also viewed a variety of historical documents concerning other famous events, both ancient and modern. He saw prophecies and predictions of things guaranteed to be fulfilled, both to the dread and amazement of enemies and the comfort and relief of his pilgrims. The next day they led him into the armory, where they showed him all kinds of military weapons that their Lord had specifically provided to pilgrims for battle. There was a sword, shield, helmet, breastplate, all prayer, and shoes that would not wear out. There was enough here to outfit as many men for the service of their Lord as there were stars in the heavens. They also showed him some of the military equipment that many of his warriors had used to accomplish wonderful things. This included the rod of Moses, the hammer and nail with which Jael had killed Sisera, the pitchers, trumpets, and lamps that Gideon used to defeat the Midianites, and the ox goad I don't know what that is. And the ox goad Shamgar used to kill 600 men. Oh, the ox goad Shamgar. Oh, okay, whatever. They also brought out the jawbone of an ass that Samson had used to accomplish such great feats. Moreover, they showed him the sling and stone David had used to kill Goliath of Gath, and the sword that their Lord would use to eventually kill the man of sin and have final victory over the predator. Christian was delighted to view all of this and did so until late in the evening, at which time they all went to bed. On the next day, as Christian was preparing to leave again, they said, "Please stay here just one more day. We would like to show you the delectable mountains, which we believe will provide you comfort the closer you get to the celestial city." Christian agreed to stay, and the next morning they brought him up to the observation point on the roof of the palace and said, "Look to the south." When he did, he clearly saw a beautiful land full of hills, woods, vineyards, fruits of all sorts, and flowers with streams and fountains. It was an amazing sight to behold. Christian was awestruck and asked, "What is the name of this land?" "Emmanuel's land," they said. "This land is designed for you and others like you, and is like the palace on this hill. When you reach the land, you'll have a great view of the gate of the celestial city, which the shepherds who live there will show you." Everyone agreed it was now time for Christian to depart. Sorry. Yeah. But before you go, they said, "Let's return to the armory." In the armory, they equipped Christian from head to toe with fully tested weapons in case he should encounter assaults along the way. Once fully outfitted, he walked out with his friends to the palace gate, where he asked watchmen, "Have you seen any pilgrims pass by?" "Yes, I have," watchman replied. "Tell me, did you know him?" I asked his name, and he told me it was Faithful." "Oh, I know him," Christian said happily. "He is a neighbor from my hometown and comes from the city of destruction where I was born. How far ahead of me do you think he may be?" Watchman shrugged his shoulders and said, "By this time, he's probably beyond the bottom of the hill." Christian placed his hand on Watchman's shoulder. "Watchman, you're a good man. May the Lord be with you and bless you abundantly for all of the kindness you have shown me." Then Christian began to leave, and discretion, piety, charity, and prudence all agreed to accompany him down to the bottom of the hill. As they walked, they reminded Christian of the truth and promises of the Lord of the hill, as they had in the palace. "As difficult as this hill was to come up," said Christian, "it seems even more dangerous going down." "Yes," said Prudence, "it's a hard thing for a man to go down to the valley of humiliation, as you are doing right now, and not slip in any way. This is the reason we have come with you to the bottom of the hill." Even so, Christian walked down very carefully, still stumbling a time or two. When they all got to the bottom of the hill, Christian's new friends gave him a loaf of bread, a bottle of wine, and a cluster of raisins. Then they left him to go on his way. Christian was grateful for the encouragement that discretion, piety, charity, and prudence had shared, and for their help in relieving him of his grief. When they departed, he was fully clad with northern steel from head to toe. Chapter 5. Ooh, it sounds like a good chapter. Okay. I think it's not so long. Hold on. It's not awful. Okay. This one's called The Battle with Apollyon. Christian found it difficult traveling through the Valley of Humiliation. The way was hard, and he had only gone a short distance when he spotted an evil beast named Apollyon, meaning destroyer, coming across the field to meet him. The sight of Apollyon filled Christian with fear, and he wondered whether he should turn and run or stand his ground. After considering his options, he realized that if he were to turn and run, he would be easy prey for Apollyon to shoot him with darts, since he had no armor for his back. So he decided to go forward and stand his ground, knowing it was the only way to truly save his life. He gripped his sword for comfort and walked forward on the path to meet Apollyon. Now the beast was hideous and clothed with scales like a fish. These were his pride. He had wings like a dragon and feet like a bear. Out of his belly spewed fire and smoke, and he had the mouth of a lion. He approached Christian, looking at him in disdain, then barked sharply, "Where did you come from, and where are you going?" Christian cleared his throat and timidly responded, "I came from the evil city of destruction, and I'm going to the city of Zion." "Ah, then you're one of my subjects, because the city of destruction is mine. You see, I'm its prince and god." Apollyon's eyes narrowed in on Christian as if he might strike him at any moment. "Why have you run away from your king?" "If I thought you were unable to provide me any more work, I would strike you to the ground with one blow." Even though he was scared, Christian stood up straight and bravely said, "Yes, it's true that I was born in your land, but you worked us too hard, and no man could live on your wages, for the wages of sin is death. So when I became of age, I did as any other thoughtful person might do and tried to renew myself. No prince likes to lose his subjects, and I do not intend to lose you." An evil smile formed around his lion-shaped mouth, revealing his jagged teeth. "But since you have complained of your work and wages, I personally promise to pay you as much as our land can afford if you will go back." Christian shook his head and said, "That's not an option. I've already sold myself to the king of princes. In all fairness, how can I go back with you?" Apollyon's smile disappeared. He gritted his teeth and took a step toward Christian. It seems to me as though your decisions have gone from bad to worse. But I'm surprised. But I'm not surprised. Many have professed themselves to this king you mentioned, but after a while gave him the slip and returned to me. You will do so too eventually, and all will be well." Christian was shocked at the assertion that he would abandon his king. "I've professed my faith and sworn my allegiance to him. How can I go back on this and not be hanged as a traitor?" Apollyon shrugged his shoulders. "You did the same to me, and yet here I am, willing to let it all go if you will just turn and go back to the city of destruction. Any commitment I made to you was in my youth. I'm confident that the king under whose banner I now stand will both absolve and pardon me for what I did while working for you." Christian, now feeling a little more confident, took a step forward. "And let me offer some more truth. You who destroy. I like his work, his wages, his servants, his government, his company, and his land much better than yours. Leave me alone and do not try to persuade me any more. I'm his servant now and will follow him." "Perhaps you should cool down and rethink this path you're on while you still can," Apollyon snarled. "You are aware that for the most part his servants have come to an early grave because they resisted me and my ways, and many have even been put to shameful deaths." Apollyon paused to let what he had said sink in, then added, "And besides, why do you think his work is better than mine? He has never come to rescue any of his servants out of their enemies' hands. But as for me, how many times, as all the world very well knows, have I delivered, either by power or fraud, those who have faithfully served me, even when they were taken by him and his followers. And so I will deliver you, Christian." Christian took another step forward, feeling braver with each step. "You have it all wrong, Apollyon. Any delay on deliverance is on purpose to test their love and to prove whether they will be loyal to him to the end. And even though you think they came to a deadly end, they were immediately delivered into glory. In this life they do not expect to be delivered, for they know they will receive their glory when the king comes in his glory with the angels." This made Apollyon howl in anger as he leveled his bony finger at Christian. "You have already been unfaithful in your service to him, so how do you expect to receive wages from him?" Christian took yet another step forward, gripping his sword tighter. "Tell me, Apollyon, where have I been unfaithful to him?" Apollyon's indignation was evident as he spoke quickly, spewing smoke from his nostrils. "You were unfaithful when you first set out and almost drowned in the swamp of despair. You were unfaithful trying to rid yourself of your burden the wrong way, when you should have waited for your king to take it off. You were unfaithful when you fell into a sinful sleep and lost the certificate. You were unfaithful when you were almost persuaded to go back at the sight of the lions on the way." Apollyon stopped and glared at Christian as if he had him, then said in a mocking tone, "And when you talked of your journey and all that you have seen and heard, oh, how you inwardly desired everyone's praise, and your pride was evident for all to see. Christian nodded in agreement. Yes, Apollyon, all of this is true, and even much more that you have left out. But the king whom I serve and honor is merciful and ready to forgive me. Taking another step toward the beast, he said, The fact is, I had many weaknesses in your land, mainly because I was brought up and educated that way. But now that weight has been lifted, and I'm sorry for them. Most importantly, I've obtained pardon from my king. Then Apollyon broke out into a great rage and said, I hate that king, and I hate his laws and people. I've come out with the sole purpose of standing against you. Christian put one hand on his sword and held up the other. Apollyon, beware what you do, for I'm on the king's highway, the way of holiness. This is your final warning. Then Apollyon straddled the entire path in front of Christian, blocking the way. I don't fear anything you say, he hissed. Prepare to die. I swear by my infernal den that you will go no farther. It's here that I will spill your soul. Without even hesitating, Apollyon shot a flaming dart at his chest, but Christian had the shield in his hand, and with it he was able to intercept the arrows and avoid danger. Christian drew his sword quickly, knowing it was time to attack, but Apollyon was quicker and charged at him, shooting darts as thick as hail. Christian did all he could to defend himself and fight back, but Apollyon began to overpower him and inflicted wounds to his head, hand, and foot. This caused Christian to fall back a little, leading Apollyon to follow with another round of forceful attacks. This severe combat lasted for over half a day. Christian was courageous and fought as bravely as he could, but his wounds were deep and he was exhausted, growing weaker and weaker with each attack. Then Apollyon, seeing his opportunity, forced himself closer to Christian and wrestled with him, threw him down with such great force that the sword flew out of Christian's hand. I've got you now, Apollyon screeched with delight as he began to beat him mercilessly, so that Christian wished he was dead. But by the grace of God, while Apollyon was preparing for his fatal blow, Christian quickly reached out his hand, felt for his double-edged sword, and grabbed it. Don't celebrate just yet, Apollyon, because when I fall, I will rise. And with that, Christian thrust his sword into Apollyon, which made the beast fall back as if he was mortally wounded. Seizing his opportunity, Christian swung his sword again, striking the beast and yelling, Even so, in all these things, we are more than the conquerors through him that loved us. Then Apollyon spread out his dragon wings and quickly sped away until Christian could see him no more. During this battle, no one can imagine, unless they had seen and heard as I did, what yelling and hideous roaring Apollyon made during the fight, for he spoke as a dragon, and on the other side of the fight was what sighing and groaning burst from Christian's heart. I never saw Christian give so much as one pleasant look through the battle. That is until he knew he had wounded Apollyon with his double-edged sword. Then indeed he smiled and looked upward with thanksgiving, but it was the most dreadful battle I ever saw. When the battle was over, Christian said, I'll give thanks in this place to him who delivered me out of the mouth of the lions, to him who helped me against Apollyon. Great Beelzebub, the captain of this beast, made plans to ruin me. He did so by sending out Apollyon with hellish rage to engage me in a fierce battle. But thankfully Michael helped me, and by the steel of my sword made him quickly fly away. Therefore to him let me give lasting praise and always be thankful and bless his holy name. Then a hand appeared to Christian, offering him some of the leaves of the tree of life. He took them and applied them to the wounds that he had received in the battle and was healed immediately. He also sat down in that place to eat bread and drink of the bottle that was given to him a little earlier. Feeling refreshed, he began his journey again with his sword still drawn in his hand. Who knows if there might be some other enemy at hand, but the remainder of his journey through this valley was quiet, and he was not challenged by Apollyon again. Entering the Valley of the Shadow of Death. At the end of this valley stretched another called the Valley of the Shadow of Death. This valley was a very lonely and desolate place, but Christian knew that to get to the celestial city he must pass through it. The prophet Jeremiah described this valley as a wilderness, a land of deserts and pits, a land of drought, and of the shadow of death, a land that no man but a Christian passes through and where no man lives. It was here Christian was subjected to more hardship than when battling Apollyon, as you will see by what follows. Get more comfortable. Okay. As he reached the border of the Valley of the Shadow of Death, he came upon two men. They were descendants of the spies who had brought back a bad report of the promised land. Oh. Wait, 2 men, descendants of the spies who had brought back. They were in a hurry to get back home. Christians stopped them and asked, "Where are you going?" I don't know if you guys know about that. In the Old Testament, when the Israelites how do you say, okay, sorry, I'm so tired. Okay, so the Israelites were enslaved in Egypt for like 400 years or something crazy. And then they were finally let go. The Pharaoh decided they could leave after the 10 plagues. So after leaving Egypt, they end up like roaming. Is that the right word? Wandering around the desert for like 40 years. So while they're in the desert, there's this land that they keep praying about. It was like prophesied that God had a promised land for them. And so they're stupid. I hate the Israelites because they went through all that time being slaves. They witnessed the 10 plagues. They witnessed the Red Sea parting and the pillar of fire and everything and all the miracles and crazy stuff. And they still choose to worship an idol that they created over God. They like don't trust him. So because they continuously deny trusting him and ungrateful, yeah, exactly, they're greedy, ungrateful. They keep forgetting what he does for them. The manna and the quail that he sent to them in the desert as food. They just keep forgetting. So ungrateful, that's a great word, yeah. So because of that, they have this amazing promised land that he keeps telling them is in store for them, and they keep forgetting, and they don't trust him, and all that. So because of that, he's like, all right, well, just never mind. You don't get the promised land. Like, you have to, I'm going to force you to wander the desert for 40 years because you're ungrateful. So there's this part where they're in the desert and they know where the promised land is. So they send out, I think it's 12 spies to go like scout out the land and make sure it's safe before they enter it. And 10 of them, so 2 of them, well, all 12 go. 2 of them see, basically the land is already occupied by like these like giants or something scary. It's like, it's something very intimidating. And I think it's the, Joshua fought the battle of Jericho. Anyway, yeah, sorry. I'm like, I'm pulling this from my childhood memories. Okay, I was taught this as a kid. So, yeah, so they see these like giant intimidating people that are in the promised land, and 10 of the spies come back. They don't trust God, so they tell them, yeah, it's not safe, we shouldn't go. 2 of the spies, I think, are Joshua and I don't remember the other one. They see the same thing, but they trust God, and they're like, we'll be fine. Anyway, Caleb. Okay, cool, nice, thank you. So yeah, Caleb and Joshua are fine with it, but since 10 of them are like, no, we're not going to be safe, then God is like, all right, then you don't get the promised land for another 40 years or something. So it just said, that was all this context for no reason. Sorry, I feel like that wasn't necessary. But it said, as he reached the border of the valley of the shadow of death, he came upon 2 men. They were descendants of the spies who had brought back a bad report of the promised land. They were in a hurry to get back home. Christians stopped them and asked, where are you going? Thanks, by the way, for that. Glad you're still listening. We are going back to where we came from, they said, quite flustered and in a hurry. And quite honestly, we think you should do the same if you value your life and peace of mind. Christian furrowed his brow. From what he could see looking out across the valley, the land looked rough and somewhat concerning. But perhaps these men were overreacting, so he asked, "Why? What's the matter with the way ahead?" "What's the matter?" they cried. "We'll tell you what the matter is. We were going the way you are now and went only as far as we dared. In fact, we were almost past the point of no return, and had we gone a little farther, we would not be here to bring you this news." Now Christian was starting to get impatient with the two men. "What news? What did you encounter?" "Why, we were almost in the valley of the shadow of death, but fortunately we looked ahead and realized the danger we were about to get into." Christian was almost beside himself with anticipation, so he blurted out, "But what did you see?" Oh, that's nice. Good to hear. That's why I do it. I have so many books I can't wait to read with you guys. Anyway, I'm about to finish this one book that I've been reading, and I'm like, I really want to read it to you because it's really good. But anyway, okay. What did we see? They glanced around as if someone were watching them and lowered their voices. "Why, we saw the valley itself. It was as dark as pitch, and there were hobgoblins, satyrs, and dragons of the pit. We heard a continual howling and yelling from people experiencing unspeakable misery, writhing in pain and bound with chains. When you look up, all you see is discouraging clouds of confusion, while death spreads its wings over the entire valley. To sum it up, it's as every bit as dreadful as it sounds, and there is nothing there but disorder." Christian looked over the bleak and dismal valley. "To tell you the truth, I've never seen anything in my life like what you've just described. But this is the only road to the celestial city, so I must stay on it. It might be your road, but it's not ours anymore." With that, the two men left. Based on their dire report, Christian moved forward cautiously, but his sword remained drawn in case he was assaulted. In my dream, I could see the entire valley, as far as it stretched. There was a very deep ditch on the right-hand side, the same ditch in which the blind have led the blind throughout time, and have both perished miserably there. On the left-hand side of the valley there was a very dangerous quagmire into which, if even a good man falls, he can find no solid footing to stand. King David once fell into that same quagmire and would have eventually smothered had the Lord not delivered him and pulled him out. In the middle of the ditch and mire, the way was extremely narrow, so Christian had to be very careful where he walked. He searched in the dark for any solid ground while trying to avoid falling into the ditch on one side and stumbling into the mire on the other. In the same way, if he overcompensated and tried to escape the mire, unless he was very careful, he would find himself on the brink of falling into the ditch. His heart was racing and he was breathing heavily, for besides the danger he was in, the way here was so dark that he often could not see where his next step would land. In the middle of this valley I could see the very mouth of hell right next to the narrow way. When Christian saw it, he wondered what he should do because the flames and smoke were so thick that it seemed to surround him. There were also sparks and hideous screaming and groaning that were not in the least bit intimidated by Christian's sword, as Apollyon had been before. He sheathed his sword and resorted to another weapon called all prayer. I heard him cry out, "O Lord, I beg you to save me." Christian went on like this for a great while, but the flames were still reaching for him. He also heard threatening voices and rushed about so that he thought he might be torn to pieces or trampled on like mud in the streets. For the next several miles, these frightful sights and dreadful sounds continued until he heard what he thought was a gang of demons approaching. He stopped to carefully consider his next move. He already had half a mind to turn back, but on the other hand, he thought he might already be halfway through the valley by now. He also remembered how he had overcome so many other obstacles on the path, and the danger of going back might be much worse than going forward. He made up his mind to move forward, yet the demons seemed to draw closer and closer. When it seemed as though they were almost on top of him, he cried out fervently, "I will walk in the strength of the Lord my God." With that, the demons turned back and did not bother him again. It's important to note that poor Christian was so confused that he didn't know the sound of his own voice. Just when he came close to the mouth of the burning pit, one of the wicked ones sneaked up behind him, whispering suggestions and deplorable blasphemies. Christian thought these voices had originated from his own mind, and it troubled him deeply. To think that he should now blaspheme the one he loved so much before weighed heavily on his heart. If he could have helped it, he would never have done it. Unfortunately, he did not have the discretion to stop listening to the voices or to understand the real source of those wicked thoughts. While traveling in this depressed state for quite some time, he thought he heard a man's voice on the path ahead of him saying, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Just hearing another's voice on this dreadful path filled him with joy for several reasons. First, because he now believed there were others who feared God in this valley like himself. Secondly, he reasoned that God was with him as he traveled through this dark and dreary place, even though he could not see him. Thirdly, he hoped to catch up with the man so that he might enjoy fellowship with him as they traveled along the way together. He called out to him, but the man did not answer because he thought he was alone too. Finally, day broke, and Christian said, "He has turned the shadow of death into the morning." In the light of a new day, he looked back, not out of any desire to return, but rather to see the hazards he had navigated through the dark. He could now see more clearly the ditch on one side and the quagmire on the other with the narrow path between them. He could also see the hobgoblins, satyrs, and dragons of the pit from a distance, but after daybreak they were reluctant to come any closer. Yet he saw them according to that which is written, "He reveals deep things out of darkness and brings out to light the shadow of death." Christian's spirits were lifted to have made it this far through the dangerous valley, but even though these dangers were exposed by the light, he still feared them more than ever. Fortunately, the rising sun offered another mercy to Christian, for without a doubt the first part of the valley of the shadow of death was dangerous, but the second part, which he was about to experience, was, if possible, far more dangerous. Jeez. This is because from where he stood now and all the way to the end of the valley was full of snares, traps, snags, nets, pitfalls, deep holes, and unsafe ledges. Had it been dark, like it was when he first entered the valley, even if he had 1,000 souls, they would all have been lost. But as I said, the sun was now rising. "His lamp shines on my head, and by his light I go through darkness," Christian said as he made it to the end of the valley by walking in the light. "I saw in my dream that at the end of the valley lay blood, bones, ashes, and mangled bodies of pilgrims that had gone this way earlier. While I was searching for a reason for this tragedy, I spotted a little cave ahead of me where two giants, Pope and Pagan, lived in days past. It was by their power and tyranny that these men viciously murdered pilgrims that had traveled this way. Christian went by this place without much danger, and I was curious as to why. Later I learned that Pagan had been dead for quite some time. As for the other, though he was alive, he had, because of his age and the many clever conflicts he encountered in his younger days, grown so senile and stiff in his joints that he could now do little more than sit in the mouth of the cave, grinning at pilgrims as they went by, frustrated that he could not confront them. Christian went on his way, but he did not know what to think about the old man sitting at the mouth of the cave, especially since Pope did not come after him, but said, "You will never be restored until more of you are burned." To this, Christian was silent and just smiled as he passed by, unharmed, and singing, "O world of wonders, I can say no less, that I should be preserved in that distress, that I have met with here, O blessed be, that hand that from it has delivered me. Dangers and darkness, devils, hell, and sin did surround me while I this veil was in. Snares and pits and traps and nets did lie about my path, that worthless, silly I might have been caught, entangled, and cast down, but since I live, let Jesus wear the crown." The end. Woo-wee. Okay. That was good. Those were good ones. Thanks for keeping me company through catching up with my chapters. Hopefully I can stream again before I need to read another chapter of that, and we can read I'm also in the middle of The House at Pooh Corner, which is just amazing. I love it. It's like, honestly, I just want to see. I probably shouldn't, but I'm so curious if this is like a super short chapter. Nah. No, I should let it have its own stream. Yeah, it's kind of long anyway. But the next time I stream, I'm gonna like really plan and hopefully have the time for the next time I stream. We do this one because it's so, I love the way it's written. It's so much fun, and I don't know, it's really good. But anyway, excuse me. It's the second Winnie the Pooh, but I mean it's like they just have little adventures. Like each chapter is totally unrelated. It's so great. So the next one is called "In Which Piglet Does a Very Grand Thing," and I already know what happens in this chapter, but like it's gonna be so cute. I really like it. But anyway, yeah. So tomorrow is my book study. We're doing chapter 5, and then by next Wednesday, I'll also do another stream so I can read chapter 6 before our next one. But anyway, I feel like I had something else to tell you before we get off. I did get a new job. I'm very, very, very excited about it. And apparently they're really excited to have me. They wanted to hire me on the spot after my second interview, but their interview process is like a 3-interview thing, so they were like, we still have to interview her a third time, but like they definitely wanted me. It was pretty cool. Yeah, and so I'm really excited to start working with them, and I got like a bunch of, I don't know, I've just been getting ready for it, because I haven't worked for, yeah, I'm really excited. Like the whole, I don't know, the company sounds amazing, so I'm super pumped, and I've been praying about it too. Like I haven't found any type of indication that this isn't what God wants for me. So with that in mind too, it's even more exciting, because when you're actually trying to follow his plan for you, things just go smoother, I guess. So I'm really excited, and I've just been getting ready because I haven't worked. I've worked from home for over 2 years. Like the past, it's been years since. Yeah, because before that I was in college, so it's been since 2021 that I was actually working in a workplace. So I'm excited. I've basically gotten like a whole new wardrobe of clothes that I can wear in an office. Business professional, you know. I'm really excited. And I got like a lunch bag. And I was looking for like a good type of shoe to wear that isn't gonna like kill my back, kind of thing, and it'll still like go with business professional attire, you know, not like big old tennis shoes kind of thing, because I shouldn't care about that, but I do care. So I got, apparently Crocs have like a ballet flat option, so I got those because I've been hearing really good things about Crocs apparently. I was gonna get Keds, but I couldn't find them like in a store, and there's just something about ordering online. If I can't try them on first, I don't want to trust it, especially if it's like $70. Like, what if I end up hating it? So I didn't do Kids, but that's great. Oh yeah. Yeah. My friend told me about this amazing like boutique near me, and I went and checked it out, and they have amazing like prices and shoes and clothes and everything, and I mean, so many options. So I saved a lot of money and I was able to get a lot of clothes. I thought I was gonna have to just go to like TJ Maxx. If I had done that, I would have spent way more money and gotten way less clothes. So that was kind of a godsend, that store. But anyway, super cheap. And they have like great clothes. I mean, I got like some Tommy Hilfiger and some Loft and is it Calvin Klein? I definitely got Ralph Lauren. It was pretty cool. Anyway, I was gonna say, what was I gonna tell you? I don't remember, but anyway, if I remember, I'll tell you my next stream, or I'll post it. I don't remember, but yeah, I'm thinking, what's today? Tuesday. Next read aloud, I might do, I don't know. With my book study tomorrow, it probably won't be tomorrow. So maybe Thursday. I'm hoping. The other platform, it was bad. That's about it. YouTube is so much better. Yeah. There's like 0 trolls on YouTube so far. They have more guidelines. I'm not interested in being objectified, you know? I could go on. So many reasons. The audience I was attracting wasn't what I wanted to attract. The majority. You know, I did have a lot of friends on there, but on here, it's way more likely that I'll only, I mean, you know what I mean. The majority of my viewers are going to be like good people that I actually am interested in interacting with, as opposed to, I don't know, trying to navigate the creeps and the weirdos and whatever. Not to be rude, but you know, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't think there's any more to add to that, actually. I'm really on here to just make friends, share the stuff I love, like my favorite books, and share my crafting. Oh, that was one thing. I have, so, you know, I come from a family of 12, and this year, yeah, you know. But this year, my goal is to make everyone in my family a card. If they've never gotten a birthday card, I want to make them a birthday card. If they've never gotten a Christmas card, I want to make them a Christmas card. So this year I have like 11 cards to make, or 10. So my next two projects. We have 2 birthdays in July, so I have to have 2 cards made pretty soon. So that'll be starting pretty soon here. So I have to figure out the design I want to go with for both those birthday cards. It's my 2 brothers. So, and then after that it'll be, I think, a birthday card in August, birthday card in September, some birthday cards in December, and some Christmas cards. I feel like I'm missing someone. I don't remember, but all that to say, lots of crafting this year, so I'll have a lot of streaming content. No, I have an older brother and an older sister, but I am one of the oldest, so I have 7 younger siblings. So we already made, the last thing that I made was a birthday card for my youngest sister. My 2 younger brothers are next. Yeah. And I think, okay, so the people that are getting Christmas cards are my big sister, because I gave her a birthday card last year, and my directly younger sister, right under me. because I gave her like 2 birthday cards already and only 1 Christmas card. So I'm gonna give her a Christmas card. And then the other Christmas card, I think it's for my little brother. Yeah, because he got a birthday card last year. But some people in the family, I feel bad. They've never even gotten a card from me ever. So this year, I was like, all right, everybody's getting cards. Because some people were like, I love your cards. I've never gotten one. 6, yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I like to, if I can, like, depending on how old they are. So some people, like my older sister has like almost 4 kids. Like she's pregnant with her 4th kid. So it's a little harder to do this with her because she's really busy. So I'll try and, especially this year, I'm about to have like a way better paying job. I definitely want to make sure I get everyone a present too for their birthday and Christmas. But basically, I hate the idea of getting someone something they don't like. So I really like, and I also love quality time. So I really like just taking them out shopping and letting them pick whatever they want for Christmas or their birthday. Especially the little kids. We need to stop calling them that. They're not little anymore. The younger kids. They're gonna be like adults before I know it. Half of us are already adults. Anyway, I like to just take them out shopping, like one-on-one, so it is quality time and they actually get a present they want, kind of thing. But also, you know, I'll ask them, like, do you know something you want? Because if it's something that you need to order, I'll just let them find it and then I'll order it for them. But my cards are more of the, like, they don't know what it's going to look like, and it's more sentimental because I made it by hand and I put my love into it. But you know, I just hate the idea of like wasting money. Well, I hate it when I get a present that I know I'm not going to use and I feel like they wasted their money on me. I'm like, I am so sorry. Like, I'm not going to tell them, but I just feel bad. Like, I'm like, oh dang, they don't know. I'm never going to use this. So I don't want to do that. So yeah, and dude, I have a little brother. He is the best gift giver. It's like impressive. I don't know. The last like 3 gifts he's gotten me were like, they're like the highlight. You know, you get like your highlight gifts. I get so excited for what I'm gonna get from him because he just knows. It's insane. That's a gift. Like I feel like I'm not great at giving gifts. My best friend says I am, but I think that's just because I know him so well, and he's not hard to get gifts for. Some people are hard. Like my big sister, I don't know what to get her, like ever. It's hard. So yeah, but we'll figure it out. I don't care. We'll figure it out. But it is definitely hard. Like 12 people, except for me, 10 people throughout the year. You got birthdays. We have birthdays almost every month. Not really. Okay, so I'm in January. Then we have 2 in May, 2 in July, 2 in August, 1 in September, and 4 in December. Those are hard too because they're right by Christmas, and they're all in 1 week. We have 4 December birthdays in 1 week. So it is hard like trying to find birthday and Christmas gifts, but I guess if they're more spread out throughout the year, that makes it easier. So I don't have to like budget for a bunch of gifts at once except for Christmas. But anyway, yeah, it's a lot. You do. It's like I don't know how to say that. Instead of just having to worry about Christmas gifts, you have a lot of birthdays you have to remember to find a good gift for. But yeah, I feel like I'm a bad gift giver, but I don't know. You never can really tell. No one's gonna tell you gave them a bad gift. So I'm like, I feel like this is lazy, or they didn't actually want this or whatever. But I do think my one brother has such a talent for getting people gifts. He's really good. Or maybe it's just because me and him are really close. I really don't know. But anyway. Yeah, so that's what's going on. I am starting a new job soon, so I don't know how often I am going to stream. We're definitely going to keep up with this read aloud because I have to read it for my Bible study. And I don't want to skip a chapter with you guys. Like, I do want to finish the book with you. So I keep saying you guys. It's only you here. But I mean, I'll try and keep up with other read alouds too in between. So we're not only reading the Pilgrim's Progress, but whenever I am working on a craft, it's going to be a card. Whenever I am working on a card, I'll try and stream it. I do get very frustrated though while I'm crafting, and I feel bad. I tried to stream whenever I finished that birthday card I was making, and I hated it. Like, I didn't feel pretty that day, and I kept messing up the card, like what I was working on for the card, and I just was like, this is like not a day to go to stream. It was annoying. And I was just like annoyed with like everything that happened that day. So I was like, I streamed for like an hour and a half, and then I deleted the stream. Like I got off and deleted it. And I feel kind of bad, but it just wasn't a good day for me. So, but I did finish the card, but I just get really frustrated when I'm crafting. So I'll really, I do want to stream more. It's good if I want to grow my channel. So I need to like stop being so hard on myself. But anyway, what was I thinking? I'll try and stream more with the crafting too, but I'm gonna have to craft, so I should at least spend time with my viewers while I do it. But with the new job, I am gonna be pretty busy, so we'll see how it goes. It's a regular old 8 to 5, but it's like a 90-day, 60 or 90-day training, so I might be got a lot on my plate kind of thing, but oh, no pressure. That'd be really cool though. I'm super happy you were here today. That was amazing. So anyway, that's the update on how it's about to be with me. I am very excited though. And once I do the first 90 days at the job, I will start to only work 3 days in the office every week and 2 days from home, which is super cool. Really appreciating that. So I'll be, I don't know. I'm kind of brain dead right now. I can't form a full sentence, but yeah. I really feel like there's something else I had to tell you, but I don't remember. So I'll let you know if I think of it. But yeah. Oh, there's this project I've been working on with my sister. I'm gonna post it when we're finally done. We're making these tiny little mushrooms out of clay, and it's been taking so long because it's like they're so small, and I want to paint. I've been painting them like different colors and different designs on them and stuff. Oh no, just like some kind of update. I feel like I can't remember right now for the stream, but it's okay. Anyway, I will probably absolutely post those on Twitter when they're finally done. I haven't been, yeah, I'll show you now actually. Just stay there for a second. Ow. Okay, so this is one. I don't know how she made this so freaking well. So I'm working on it with my youngest sister. Oh, the closet mushroom. Yeah. My youngest sister, we've been working on it. My other younger sister made this one for me and I painted it and it's just adorable. I don't know how she made it like so well. But I love the colors that I chose and all of that and it's so cute. This one I'm obsessed with. I made it myself. But yeah, it's kind of just like I want them all to look totally different and the colors are all different. And then I'll post all of them together when we're done. But this is what this one looks like here. Ta-da! And I love it. It's like the top is so cute and floppy. And it looks like a Sunday hat or something. And the dots, I don't know how I did the dots, so it's not gonna focus. Can I like do this? Hold on. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Look at it. It's so cute. I love it. And the bottom, like I did bigger spots on the bottom. And I love the way the bottom's shaped. Like it's like oddly shaped. It's so cute. Anyway, I love it. I did that one. So we're just making like all different like types, different colors, different spots, and I'm really excited. Yay! Yeah, it was so frustrating because at first we did like a whole batch and we were using like crazy glue to glue the tops to the bottoms, and I didn't realize the crazy glue doesn't work with clay. So they just like immediately fell apart once they dried. It was so bad. So we've made a whole new batch, and this time before we glue them together, we're painting them so it's easier to paint, and we're gonna use the right kind of glue. But the reason I'm making them is, I'll show you. Dun, 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 dun. So, the reason, there's this thing that my sister made for me. It's adorable. I'm obsessed with it. And I didn't know what to put on it because it's so small. So it's like this like crescent moon little shelf. And the shelves are so, look at the little butterflies. I'm obsessed. She did such a good job. I don't understand. But the shelves are so tiny. I don't have any like tiny little knickknacks to put on it. So I didn't know what to do. And then I came up with the idea. Like the back is so pretty. It's so cute. But I came up with the idea to make mushrooms because she put these mushrooms down the sides. It's so cute. Like, she's amazing with painting. I'm not that great. I mean, it takes practice. I'm very closed to practicing, but I just think it's so cute. And it's gonna be so cute with these little mushrooms inside, you know? And we're making like all different sizes. Like I made this one big mushroom that's got like this kind of top. And it's like, I'll post it when it's done on the shelf so you can see them all. It's a project I'm very excited about once it's finished. So yeah. Maybe that was the update. I don't remember what else I was going to tell you, so. Anyway, I gotta go because I'm starting to get real hungry. That was a very decently long stream, so decently lengthed, whatever. Anyway, Wraith, so happy you were able to catch this stream. Seriously, super happy. Good to see you. I don't know when I'm gonna stream again. If I'm not doing anything with like family or anything, it'll probably be Thursday. Maybe Friday? I really don't know yet, so we'll see. But I do try and keep you guys posted as ahead of time as I can on Twitter. So I love you though. And I hope you have a good night. And thanks for reading. Oh yeah, of course, my pleasure. Thanks for watching. But yeah, I hope I get to see you again on my next stream. And have a good night, and I'll see you soon. Bye. And I forgot how to, oh yeah, bye.